What's up, everyone, and welcome to JMD Play. Uh, what I'm doing here for the first day of full time on this channel, on all the channels, is I'm trying to reintroduce myself, uh, me personally, and reintroduce the channel to you as the viewer, and just kind of explain my background and purpose for this channel and the idea of this channel going forward and all that kind of stuff. So just like I said, reintroducing myself. So um, hello, welcome. I am JMD. I that stands for Jason Martin Drummer, which is what I started my original channel JMD for, as a aspiring YouTube social media drummer or whatever, doing covers and all that kind of stuff. That's that's how I started out here on YouTube. So, and the point around this channel was my love for video games and stuff like that, and just like anything around that. When I started out as a young, I grew up in the 80s and 90s, the whole era of video gaming, and how that started out when it was, as far as like from Ataris to the coming in of Nintendo, Sega, and then eventually PlayStation and Microsoft getting in with the Xbox, the whole era of video gaming. I lived through all of that, or in PC gaming as well. So it's always been a part of my life, something that I always enjoyed doing, whether my parents liked it or not. I didn't solely do that. I also had my I spent outside plenty as well, but that's where it all started. I know, I remember at one point we had, I don't think it was an Atari, but it was like something that it was similar to it that we were that my dad had, I think, and then we would play your old school. It was like a racing game, a small, like a eight. I don't even sure it was 8-bit, but whatever kind of racing game that it had. The ping pong, games. I think some kind of fighting game. It was, this old school, like before Nintendo, before all that. We had, I think it was even Frogger may have been on it, stuff like that, or something similar to that. I remember at a really early age, young age, playing stuff, playing those games. I don't know what type of system it was. I don't believe it was an Atari system. I think it was something similar to that. But I could be wrong. It's hard for me to remember that, and I don't know where that system went, to be honest. But I myself originally had a Super Nintendo. I did not have original Nintendo because my cousins had the regular Nintendo, and so I would go over there to play the regular Nintendo, and I had a Super Nintendo. So they would come over there to me to play a Super Nintendo. Or we would all gather together at like my grandmother's or whatever. We would bring our systems there a lot of times. So we would have them both hooked up to the TV. We would swap back and forth between them. That's pretty much. And I think they also had a Sega as well at some point. Most of my history in video gaming was with Nintendo. That's always been a household spot. And I never really engaged much with PlayStation or even Xbox once they came into play. Like I pretty much had almost every Nintendo platform, system, or whatever, from starting with the Super NES to the 64 when it first come out. I was there. I got the 64 along with Super Mario 64, Cruising USA. Those were my first two games. Played the hell out of them, hours upon hours upon hours. And then I did skip the GameCube. My sister had a GameCube. My baby sister had the GameCube. Because that was around the time that I was starting to into adulthood or whatever, graduating and whatnot, and moving into adulthood. I kind of stepped away from gaming a little bit there, and I was getting more into PC gaming at that time as well, because I had PCs have always been a part of my life as well, going way back. As I want to say, my parents got their a computer when I was like somewhere around, man, I had to be around 8, maybe 10, somewhere around in there when we got our first computer, I would suppose. Maybe it was more like 10. I can't exactly remember. 10 or 12. Somewhere around there, I guess. Maybe it wasn't quite that. Maybe I'm over exaggerating that. It was probably around 12, but nevertheless, we I've I guess been influenced or whatever by PCs back as far as Windows 3.0. That's what we originally had on the first computer we bought, was Windows 3.0. Then we quickly, right after that, 3.1 came out, and then it was just like with on Nintendos. I've had almost every system. With Windows, I have pretty much had some sort of engagement with every system in the PC realm. From Windows 95 to Windows 98, Windows Millennium in 2000. That's when I was going to college. I was learning about that. Windows XP came out. So it was. I've been engaged in computers very much. Just what I went to college for was computer networking, and I was really involved with the computer system maintenance and stuff like that, and like building computers is what I really like to do. Is what I actually wanted to move into, was actually building computers like professionally, but that didn't happen. Although I still do it. I still keep up as much as I can with computers and the new technologies and stuff when it comes to CPUs, memory, GPUs with gaming and everything. All that good stuff, motherboards and the bus speeds and I keep up with all that stuff. I constantly are rebuilding. I just recently rebuilt my computer again, like literally a couple weeks ago, upgrading it to the most like the newer AM5 platform. I'm an AMD fan, so that's. If you would like to see a video of the new computer or whatever, and going through the specs of how I changed it, I can do that if you like. But that's not for this video. But yeah, so I've had a big influence in like in the world of gaming since I was a little kid. Biggest being Nintendo and PC gaming. Like I said, I didn't really ever get into PlayStation or Xbox or anything like that. I just was a big fan of Nintendo and just didn't see the point. I kind of always wanted them to, I guess, stay on top, supposedly. I mean, to some degree, I guess, and I kind of felt weird with PlayStation being better or Xbox being better and that whole like stupid argument, but just never really got one. So that had a huge influence in video gaming. Loved playing all the different, whether it was your base Nintendo stuff like Mario and stuff like that, or racing games. When it comes to PC, I was big in first-person shooters and stuff. I've played everything from the original Call of Duties. I go all the way back to like the first Call of Duty on those. Haven't really played much of the newer ones, but all your original Call of Duties to Assassin's Creed to I was big with F.E.A.R, Dead Space, all those different ones. BioShock. I've played all those different in the early 2000s or late 2000s to early 2010s era gaming. Crysis, all those big ones that at the time would be like pushing your PCs and stuff. I played all those games. I had the dual video card set up, all that kind of stuff at one point. Not anymore because it's kind of pointless. But at that time it was huge. The industry is completely kind of flip flopped, really, because back then it was like the software industry was ahead of the hardware industry. where you had your software pushing the hardware, and now it's kind of flipped on its head. Now the hardware is so far advanced and the software really hasn't, it can't keep up anymore. So you don't really have a lot of software pushing the hardware anymore, like it was then. Because back then, like when like Crysis come out, it was like huge for. You had to have a dual video card set up in this massive ass system to even run it on like ultra settings, which I did not have. I mean, I had the dual card setting set up, but even with that, it was like more mid-range cards, and my system was kind of more mid-range. And I could only run it on like medium, maybe. I think I may have been able to run it on high, but I couldn't run it on ultra high, but it would just annihilate my system. But like I said, that's kind of completely flipped now. The hardware is so advanced now; it's no reason to be too crazy on that. But and the software is trying to keep up now. Gaming is trying to keep up. But that's always been a part, outside of like it's the drumming, has always been a part. And video games has always been a part of me. It's like my two big, I guess, escapes sometimes. Everybody uses that as a lot of times just escape from reality or the world or whatever. And video games do that for me. So I started this channel to share that, to share even though I'm older in age or whatever, but I wanted to share, have fun and engage in the streaming platform, playing games or whatnot. It pretty much started here with Fortnite. My son got me into Fortnite a few years back. I had originally tried it out when it first came out. Wasn't really into it. The building and stuff kind of threw me off. It didn't make any sense. But once Zero Build came in, my son introduced me back into it that way, and I kind of basically fell in love with it to some degree. I still enjoy it, although maybe not as much as I did when I originally started playing, but I still do enjoy it, and it's a good way for family and friends and whatnot to have engagement, over a game. It's a really cool way to do that, the social aspect of it. But also enjoy doing other games. And so on this platform, on this channel, I've also done Tears of the Kingdom when it came out. I did a whole series on that, and I would like to do other games as well. I didn't ever want this channel to be completely about like Fortnite or whatever, or just about one game. So my intent for this channel is to do multiple games, and most of the time it probably will be older games, but I could even do newer games as well at times. Things that I'm actually interested in, but it'd be older games that I have never played, or not like older games, but just more of your bigger games that came out in the past, say 10 years or something, that I just didn't get into or didn't play. That's what I kind of want to go in. So I have a whole list of games that I have set up that a whole list. I have quite a few. Like I know Control was a big game back. It's at one point. I would like to. It was always interesting to me. So that one is real big. On the library, I have all the Mass Effect games, which I know those are kind of older. I have that whole and I attempted to play the original Mass Effect years ago, and it just didn't completely I don't know. I didn't completely get into it at the time because I was more into like Call of Duty and stuff like that, Assassin's Creed, and I wasn't really completely interested in it. But I would like to go back and play all of those. I have all the Tomb Raiders games. I have the Horizon Zero Dawn. I want to get into that one. So I got quite I even have played some of God of War. I would hate to kind of really start that one over, though. But if you would like to see that one, let me know. But yeah, there's different games and stuff that I would like to get into and have series on, engage and play through it and whatnot. And if let me know which ones you would want me to do first, you would rather do or prioritize or whatever the case. That's, I would love to have your feedback on that. But yeah, that's what this channel is mostly for. I've also considered maybe also implementing some reactions or reviews to different movies or TV shows or something like that, because I feel like that's somewhat in the same realm as video gaming. And so if you're interested in that, or I want to do some of that as well, potentially here, because I originally was going to do that on something like Clear Talk or something, but it doesn't feel like it's in the same, it doesn't feel like that's where that needs to be. Or even on the JMD channel or anything like that. I feel like that would be better placed here. It won't be like major. I don't plan on like doing a lot of it, but I if you'd like to see some of that, let me know. But that's pretty much what this channel is for, and about me sharing my, love and interest in video games, and, your interactions with that. Playing games that you may have already played, or playing games that you were interested in and never played, or you want to see me play through it first, or whatever the case. Yeah, that's pretty much what it's for. That's what we're here for. And if you like that, then please consider subscribing, share, all that good stuff, and engage here. This is the place for you. And also check out other channels as well, if you would like that. If you're interested in any of that stuff. But thank you very much. And yeah, we are JMD Play. Peace. I'm out.